So this one's called Basket and Other Stories. It's my fifth book of 10 so far. I would go back to maybe high school and maybe 95 or 96, I should say. I'd always see my older brother reading books in his room. And I wouldn't. I prefer basketball. I preferred skating, and I'd come knocking on his door, and he'd say, "No, this is a great part. I'm in a great scene right now," and he'd be so involved in the book, and I think, what a loser. He just wants to sit there reading all the time, and I always had that voice in me, kind of poking at me, saying, pick up a book or read, get involved with books, stories. I wrote an essay. It was called Catcher in the Rye by Salinger. A lot of people have heard of that book. My teacher took my essay, and he did something that to this day I can't understand, because back then I thought I just didn't have the potential. He took my essay and he pinned it up on the wall. That was like of paramount importance to me. I could do this for the rest of my life. When I worked at the bookstore in Barnes & Noble, I'd go through magical realism to sci-fi to speculative fiction, and so I just studied them all. And I remember coming across one called subconscious fiction. Discovering this genre called subconscious fiction, it's a relief to know that, wow, there's something out there that is at least close to what I do. Because I'm a writer, I think the most important thing in this world, in this galaxy, I'm holding on to this until the day I die, is a story, it's even telling a story. When people are all gathered together and one person says, okay, so you guys haven't heard about this one, have you, this story? And they want to know, and it's not just the story itself, it's the art of telling the story. You got to be able to tell it the right way, and whether it's using your hand gestures but as far as like the textual kind of storytelling goes, we were talking about this before, there's a lot being given away subtext between the lines. And no matter what problem someone's going through, sometimes it's reading a story and where you can just stop and digest those words, what was just said. You can slow down whenever you want, you can speed up whenever you want, but most important of all, you can stop and just let that food go down the esophagus and really think about it. Wow, the way that person said that. There's really 4 scenarios before you write. You feel good, you're gonna write good. There's another scenario. You feel good, you tell yourself, I'm gonna write good today, it's gonna be good, I'm gonna feel good, and it's gonna work. But it doesn't work. You sit down and nothing, it's just trashy. Oh my God, I was feeling good and there's a car crash. I'm not gonna write because I feel like terrible. You sit down and you write wonderfully. My goodness, where did that come from? That's an inspirational. And the last one, of course, you feel like crap. You sit down, you wanna write, you write crap. Right? It doesn't come out. So I've actually defined all the possible cases that can happen, and narrowed it down and said, okay, so it's going to be one of these today. It's going to be one of these 4. I was watching Woody Allen's movie today, Broadway Danny Rose. He says, you know what? I love laughing. Life is great. It's full of laughs. The only thing is, in order to get those laughs, you have to suffer. And I feel like that about writing and writers, is that they suffer so much, especially the ones that go the distance, constantly thinking about what you're going to write next. What's your next piece going to be about? Regardless of who's going to read it, who's not going to read it, is it going to ever be read? You can't think about that. You've got to think, you got to sit down. You're going to sit down, is what you tell yourself, and you're going to write that dang blasted story till you hit the last period of it, whether it's 10,000 words, 20,000 words, 40,000 words, and then you're going to move on to the next story. Buckle down, get that writing done. Try not to believe in writer's block. It exists. It's a ghost, and it exists, but do your best. Even if you write, this is going to sound crazy, but even if you write the same word, like for the whole page, like I hate this, or my life, or if you're going to repeat that, do it. If you would put on a scale the learning that I had from being a bookseller at Barnes & Noble versus the learning I had from the school I went to get my master's, the scale will tip over towards the bookstore. Your schooling is life. You don't need to pay a dime to be a writer. You don't. You've got to put your foot down and say, no, this is not you, this is me, and I'm calling it this. So this loops back to wondrous fiction. You break all the rules. I'm never gonna fall and not get back up. You know, whether it's writer's block, whether it's criticism, whether if someone comes by and says, wondrous fiction's for the birds. Whatever it is, if my ear hits the floor, I guarantee you I'm gonna get back up. Even for days that I can't write, or I'm having stagnant thoughts, or I can't even get out of bed. And the challenges will exist. I mean, you poets, writers, songwriters, script writers, playwriters, we are sensitive, but if we're buckling down in this art as a means of survival, and a lot of people do it as a hobby, but it still keeps them surviving. Whatever your passion is in life, whoever's listening to this, whatever your niche is, you know, if it's writing, for example, and you fear that you're going to make some errors, or you fear that you're not a good writer because you don't know big enough words, you know, I don't know enough words. Take what you have, take the words you have, and go with it. If there's anything I have up until this day, it's the courage of continuing this journey. And it's a tough one. I mean, there's a lot of criticism, there's a lot of despondent disparity moments where you're telling yourself it's not going to work, and then you've got to get back on your feet and fight again. You've got to keep fighting.